All right, it's officially happened. I've been waiting to make this video because I wanted to feel better, but it's here. It's happening and I want to do it, and I'm doing it now, which it feels very akin to the energy of Saturn moving into Aries. Okay, so just settling into that energy. There's a lot. I also want to preface, I am still sick. You can probably tell by my voice. I sound a little nasally, my throat, etc. I'm probably going to be editing this video a lot to cut out me coughing. So if you see me, if it happens, that's what's happening. So Saturn moves into Aries today, like literally today. It's May 24th, and Saturn is going to be in Aries until September 1st. We're getting a sneak preview of what the next 2 years is going to look like for us. We are going to get a dip into the energy of Saturn in Aries, and then it's going to actually retrograde. I have it written down here. It's going to be retrograding back July 1st, and then it's going to retrograde back into Pisces by the time of September 1st. It's going to be in Pisces. We're going to be reviewing these lessons of Pisces the last couple months here. So from like March until May, so the last few degrees of Pisces, we're going to come back and address those again. And then Saturn will go direct on November 27th, and then by February 13th, Saturn will move back into Aries again and will be there until April 12th, 2028. Okay? So that's a little timeline. I'll put something up here so you can visualize it, because I try to help you guys understand what I'm talking about. So I've been sitting with this energy, and even before I sat to film this video, a few things to know about me as an evolutionary astrologer. If you haven't met me yet, hi, I'm Izzy. That's what I do. Evolutionary astrology is my jam. It's all about taking authenticity and ownership over your own chart and taking the aspects of our chart and allowing them to evolve our souls, right? And that takes meeting the universe halfway. We're provided this blueprint that is our natal chart that allows us to look at the skills that we have available, and then we're able to take that knowledge and grow with it, right? A little housekeeping before we jump into talking about the energy of Saturn moving into Aries. My readings are open for June. I can't believe June's almost here. Readings are open for June. I have channeled message readings open as well as natal chart readings. So if you are interested and have a desire to have your soul blueprint read, you can go ahead and click the link below and be able to access that. Also, I have a newsletter called Letters from the 8th House where I channel the upcoming transits and they get delivered straight to your inbox every Monday. And that way you can be prepared for the week ahead. And I outline things, give journal prompts, and just make sure that you're ready to go. So anything else? I go live every Sunday on Twitch to talk about the upcoming transits. It's a great opportunity for you to get to know me, come chat with me, come hang out with the community that I'm building. Speaking of a community, I have a Discord called the House of Celestial Magic, which is a community of like-minded people. I tend to gather people that are at a threshold and are moving into a new phase of life. So if that sounds akin to where you're at, come join. All of this is linked below. All of it's below. So anyways, I'm going to have so much fun editing this video and getting all my coughs and like sniffles and snorting out. So let's pray I'll get it out today. Okay. While I was sitting with the energy of Saturn in Aries, I literally, to kind of help those of you conceptualize how I sit with planetary energies, I used to be very by the book, very textbook, and as I've stepped further into my power as a astrologer and as somebody who is just me, I actually sat down with the archetype of Saturn in Saturn in Aries. And so I was sitting, it was actually interesting because it was both. I was seeing Saturn in Pisces and I was seeing Saturn in Aries, and just kind of this threshold. And I mentioned it on one of my TikTok videos where I got such a clear visualization that spirit, God, source, whatever you want to call it, fill in the blank, ad lib here, gave me when it was showing me this transition. So essentially, for those of you who don't know about Saturn, we're going to learn a little bit about Saturn because I love Saturn. And essentially, Saturn takes about 28 to 30 years to make a full journey through the zodiacal wheel, right? And so Saturn returning to Aries is the first step. It's almost like the hero's journey. It's like actually embarking on a new journey, essentially. If you're not familiar with Joseph Campbell's work and the hero's journey, I invite you to look into that because that's what we be doing. This energy of Saturn returning into Aries is really like the culmination of looking at all the lessons that we've learned. Some of us may be in our 30s where you have actually experienced this whole transition, and some of you may not be at that age yet, so you haven't experienced the whole transition of Saturn returning. You may know the term Saturn returns. It's where Saturn returns to where it was at when you were born. All right, I'm going to just nerd out about Saturn. Saturn is the keeper of time. If you're familiar with mythology, Saturn is Kronos, keeper of time. It is the limitation that we have in this reality. Literally, time is our most valuable commodity here. And Saturn teaches us lessons revolving around time. He teaches us structure. He teaches us discipline. I call him Daddy. So, Saturn is here to really hone in our lessons. And can it be comfortable? Sure, if you're willing to submit. But some of us go out swinging and we get humbled really quick. So essentially, when we're born with Saturn at a specific placement. And I like to talk about Saturn cycles because it is very telling as we grow and as we evolve as humans of the sort of cycles we go in. You can literally use Saturn to track like major pivotal moments in life because he represents time and actual like concrete integration with our 3D reality. So you're born, you're a baby, you're at home. That's where Saturn is when you're born. Okay, wherever it may be in your chart, you can comment it below. So I know a lot of people have Saturn in Aries. You're just about to go through your Saturn return. Me too, yippee. Then we have our first Saturn square. A square is a 90-degree angle. That is where Saturn essentially embarks onto a new mission. And your first Saturn square happens when you're around 6 to 7 years old. What else happens around 6 to 7 years old? You go to kindergarten, you go to preschool, you enter the world outside of your nuclear family. This is a massive transition for a child. It is finding your identity outside of your nuclear family. So you start to see other forms of structures. You know, the way kindergartens ran, the way your peers have been raised, the way your teachers decide to discipline you. So you're witnessing other ways, right? That happens around 6 to 7 years old, give or take. It's never an exact age. It just depends on where Saturn's at. Then, one of my favorites, we have our first Saturn opposition. As somebody who has worked in the education system and primarily works with teenagers, you have your first Saturn opposition at the age of 15 and 16. Now, I want you to just ponder for a moment what happened for you at 15 to 16. Usually, there is this battle that could be internal or external against authority. Again, oppositions are 180 degrees, so they are butting heads. You're opposing your natal Saturn, which is how you were raised to be in your structure, and then Saturn's at this opposition point where it's saying, yeah, but I don't know about that. So you butt heads with authority figures, whether that's your parents, whether that's the school system, whether that's, you know, your first boyfriend, whatever it may be. There is a massive moment of like, look, authority, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I remember my first Saturn opposition very clearly. I left Mormon church when I had my first Saturn opposition. I broke free of a structured religion, okay? And that's a whole story for another time. But You guys can comment below what happened around that age for you guys. It's probably pretty comforting for other people to see and hear these things. Then you have your third Saturn square, which is where Saturn again is at that 90-degree angle, and that happens around the ages of 20 to 21. And that's when usually, if you followed a traditional route, that's usually when you that's usually when you're graduating college. If you followed a traditional route. For some people, you might be in the job force. You might be actually realizing what you want to do with your life. Again, I remember what was happening at that time in my life. But it's essentially this point where you're seen as an adult, but you have none of the skills yet to be an adult. That doesn't happen until your Saturn return. So don't worry. Don't worry about it, okay? So you're in this space where you're like, what is going on? Okay, I just heard the Crazy Frog song in my head. So, at that age, you're kind of questioning, like, who am I? I'm expected to be an adult. I don't have the tools yet. What do I want to do with my life? There's this, like, big pressure point of, like, other external sources kind of telling you, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Why aren't you behaving properly, you know, as an adult? It's because you're figuring it out. You're not really an adult yet. So permission slip handed to you. If you have not gone through your Saturn return yet, you're still learning. I'm so excited for my 30s, to be honest. Like I'm ready. I'm ready. So, and then you have your Saturn return, and that happens around 28 to 30, just again, depending on where Saturn falls in your chart and the retrogrades and whatnot. And that is where Saturn asks, hey, did you learn your lessons? Did you actually figure out, you know, what I've been trying to teach you this whole time? And it usually comes in the form of external things happening that are kind of challenging you to apply the lessons of Saturn, to create structure, to dismantle what you were built upon and rebuild it again within your own narrative. It's not easy. It's easier said than done, essentially, you know, like you go through a massive breakup, you move across the country. Maybe it's an internal thing, just depending on where Saturn is in your chart, that can give more clarity on what could occur. I don't really like to get into predictive astrology. I like to talk about more of the fact that you are going to go through this, whether you like it or not. And Saturn is kind of like a school bus, and you get run over by him, and then he like retrogrades and you get reversed. And it's just like, it's not fun. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. It's not fun, but it is going to prepare you to enter the next cycle. And then we think of this in a cyclical way where if that took 30 years, and then Saturn will do that again another 30 years, and then another 30 years. If you know, God willing, you live till 90, you go through these 3 different phases, right? And for me, it represents, you know, the maiden, the mother, the crone, you know, these different cycles, or the student, the teacher, the sage, you know, these different archetypal phases that we go through, and we start building who we are and evolving who we are and integrating these lessons of Saturn. And Saturn in your natal chart is the work that you came here to do. It is the structure that you chose to build yourself with. It is what you're here to teach others. It's actually my favorite part of anybody's natal chart is looking at their Saturn. What is your big lesson? How can you integrate that? How can you see that and not judge yourself for it? And for most people, when you look at your Saturn and you see it and you see what house it's in, and if it's conjunct this or opposing that, you know, you get more clarity. So that's a little bit about Saturn, as we're like 14 minutes already into this video. This is going to be a long one. Now that I've gotten Saturn out of the way and just talking about Saturn in general, let's talk about this new cycle. So this, again, Saturn's moving into Aries. It's the first sign of the zodiac. So if we look at this from outside of the self and we look at it from a perspective as if we don't have an identity, we're looking at the community, we're looking at society as a whole. It's a whole new cycle starting, right? Neptune just moved into Aries too. A whole new cycle starting. Anything that enters Aries, it's a whole new cycle starting the lesson over again. And what I saw when I woke up from a dream. I was in this in-between state and I was shown this image. And essentially, Saturn in Pisces it's as though the way I saw this was so interesting. It's like you get a key for each sign that Saturn moves through, and it's a lesson. And like when you complete the lesson, you get handed a key. And it's very like anime in my head. It's like, you defeated this level. Here's your key to go to the next one. And you get to Saturn in Pisces, and there's like this mold, and they all like melt together. And it's the key to the doorway to start the new chapter, the new level, the new life. So I saw this key and this doorway, and it was essentially this message of like entering a new entire identity, an entire new chapter, an entire new phase of life. Saturn in Aries is this entirely new invitation for us to take the reins of our life. And I get a lot of imagery when I think about these things, and that's just the way I communicate astrology. And it's like almost like laying out the blueprint of something. And that is what Saturn is about. It's about looking at our structures, and we're looking at the blueprint of who am I? That is Saturn in Aries. Aries represents our ego identity, who we are without a body. It's just what is inhabiting the body. You know, who are we? Who are you? And now you're getting the opportunity for Saturn to come in here and excavate anything that is no longer authentic to who you are becoming. It's a lot. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be dismantling for a lot of people who have not been on the journey of self-discovery and self-acceptance and sovereignty. For people who have been on this journey, it's going to be affirming, and more things are going to fall away, and you're going to have more ease building a foundation and structure. And the important thing here is to see where Saturn is transiting within your natal chart based off your rising sign. Is it in your first house? Is it in your seventh house? Like, where is it transiting? And yes, of course, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to give you guys a small little blip of what could occur and like the stage of life that it's impacting for you. But I always like to encourage you guys, because myself, the core of who I am, is a teacher. I want you to pull up your natal chart, pause this, pull up your natal chart, find where Aries is in your natal chart. I'll put a symbol of Aries here. This is the symbol of Aries. Find it. Which house does it rule? Okay. Now Google, just look up astrology houses. Okay. And now you take Saturn in Aries, you apply it to that house. That's the stage of life that it's impacting for you. Okay. This is a very interesting transit because of the fact that Saturn is entering Aries and Neptune just entered Aries. So we have this like massive shift that's happening on a collective level that is bringing in newfound identity around our spiritual beliefs and also like our structure. So how do you build that? A lot of this is going to bring in the need for spiritual discipline, especially because Saturn's going to be touching Neptune and then retrograding back into Pisces, which is going to bring in some previous lessons that we've been wrapping up and closing them, and then moving back into Aries and again touching Neptune again. So there's going to be these Piscean threads because of Neptune. Neptune is ruled by Pisces. Okay. That's why I'm bringing in that more spiritual thread. Okay. Just so we're all on the same page here. So Saturn in Aries really brings in this level of leadership. You know, again, looking at which house it falls into your chart, like how can you lead in this? Where's your self-authority within this area of your life? If that doesn't even feel real for you, that's what Saturn's going to bring in. He's going to bring in, you know, the whole he's going to bring in the whole construction crew. I can't even say that word. And you're going to start building something, and it might look like taking down some old structures, which might be painful. Probably will be. So there's also accountability in action. This is something for myself that is super important when it comes to my relationship to myself and my relationship to others. Are you being accountable? Are you actionable with your word? Saturn in Aries is really going to test that. Like, when you say you're going to do something, are you going to do it? Right? Are you not acting because you're afraid to fail? Saturn's going to challenge that too. Are you leaping blindly, which is very Aries, and Saturn's going to be like, well, you're going to learn either way. There is a refinement of our instincts here. Like Saturn, is literally taking a scalpel to our instinct and like really having us hone in on like, what does it feel like when we succeed? What does it feel like when we're in our power? What does it feel like when we go against our own inner knowing? And it's like he's allowing us to see these things. New cycles are beginning, right? But it's going to be slow. Saturn is slow moving in nature. It's just slow moving. So it's like there's a level of patience, and Aries energy struggles with that. And that's also the challenge here is like, can you hold this inner flame without letting it sputter out? Can you continue to tend to your own inner fire without burning too hot or burning too brightly? Can you be consistent with your goals? And like, if not, the structure wasn't working to sustain it. And that's the gift. It will fall apart and you will rebuild again. So it's really like being practical and honest with yourself and what you truly desire. Anything that's happening under this transit of Saturn and Aries, it's for the long haul. Like, it is an initiation that is going to span the next 30 years. Because that's the nature. And this lesson is going to evolve through all the different signs, right? Your identity is going to be tested. That's just plain and simple what Saturn is going to be doing. Who are you? Like I said, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And if you don't know, this is a beautiful opportunity to know yourself. All right. So we're going to talk about Saturn through the different houses, okay? And it's going to be based off your rising sign. I always say use your discernment on where it's actually falling in your natal chart. So again, like I said, look at your natal chart. If you need any help, you can comment below or join my Discord community. We have a bunch of people who are versed in astrology too that can help answer questions, or I can as well. So let's jump into it. All right. So for my Aries risings, this is happening in your first house of identity. It's right on your ascendant. You are going to go through a massive glow up. Who you show up as is not going to be the same by the end of this entire transit. By 2028, you're going to be radically different. This brings a full identity restructuring. Okay? Big lessons around your personal responsibility, self-discipline, how you initiate is coming to the forefront. Everything I said about Saturn and Aries, it's just tenfold for you guys because it's happening in your first house, which is the house of Aries. There is a deepening and a concentration in recognizing how you initiate from ego versus the soul. Okay. And so that's going to be that thread that is really challenging you here. Okay. You're going to be recognizing what is coming from truth and what is coming from performance. It's time for those masks to fall, babies. It's time to let it go and let it flow. And I already feel your guys' claws coming out. So you've got this. Okay. All right. Taurus Risings. This is happening in your 12th house. So this is a very interesting transit for you because of the fact that the 12th house is hidden, right? So it's time for you to face what's hidden. So that could be spiritual avoidance, unconscious patterns, forms of escapism, right? Saturn here can kind of bring some isolation, but also a deep inner strength. There's this need to look at your subconscious patterns, to look at how you've been running, how you escape, whether that's through addictions, whether that's through daydreaming. You know, you are really being called here. Saturn in the 12th house transit is calling you to find a deep devotional spiritual practice, especially with Neptune here. It's going to be your grounding source, right? To be able to move through those patterns, to have something And the way I'm seeing it for you guys is it's like creating a new pathway for you to move energy through instead of through these old coping mechanisms. There's a deep need for you to repattern yourself. So there's a lot of need for you guys to clear old karma through solitude, through surrender and silence. Like, this is a solo journey. I'm seeing the Hermit tarot card big time here, where it's like you need to move forward on this path alone and realize that you're not actually alone. For my Gemini risings, this is happening in your 11th house, which is community, higher vision, right? So this is really having you look at your long-term dreams, right? Are you clear on what those are? Do you know what the vision is you hold for your future, for the future of yourself, but also the community and humanity as a whole? Like, you're really looking at that here. The 11th house does represent our friendships, and there is a need to look at like who you surround yourself with, and are they in alignment with this identity that is evolving within you. You also might take on leadership positions within your community and responsibility within your community, and recognize that like you're actually supposed to be leading people and like stepping up. You're looking at the different alliances in your life as well. You're wanting to surround yourself with people that are aligned with your integrity. And so you're going to have to come face to face with the people that you thought were closest to you potentially are not going to actually move forward with you in the next chapter of your life. So restructuring community might sound heavy, especially if you really enjoy the people you're around, but are they going to support you when you move through bigger things in life? Okay. So who are you in your community? Who are you showing up as? Are the people going to support this identity that's evolving? Okay. All right. Cancer risings. This is happening within your 10th house. So career, vocation. The pressure's on here. The pressure is on. Saturn is demanding clarity within your career and structural integrity. So this is actually really beautiful because you're going to get clear. You're going to get clear. You are going to be looking at what you've built yourself upon so far within your career, or what you're desiring to do out in the world. And you are being called to claim your own authority within that and build something that lasts. So if whatever is currently happening in that realm of your life, is it going to make it through Saturn coming through here? If it doesn't, it wasn't meant to be. There could be challenges or recognition. It just depends on how aligned you are with your inner authenticity. Don't hide behind softness and step into sovereign leadership. Okay. All right, Leo risings. Hey, Saturn's in your 9th house, which is bringing in your beliefs. Saturn is asking you to take your beliefs seriously. What do you actually live by? What's your coat of arms is kind of the feeling that I'm getting here. If you have no idea even what a coat of arms is, it's time for you to look at that. This is the transit that brings in sort of a philosopher energy and also a priest energy when we look at those higher things, or the priestess and I want to say the witch, right? It's time to study and refine and commit to your spiritual truth. So there's going to be things that challenge your belief systems. Anything that falls by the wayside is not meant to go forward. I see like a dismantling of your belief systems to be rebuilt into something brand new that actually truly supports you. There's also an opportunity here for you to take on a mentor role, or also be a student of a specific mentor. You know, you might be seeking a mentor or becoming the mentor to other people. My Virgo risings. Hi, me too. This is always it's always heavy talking about my own chart, but Saturn is transiting your 8th house. This is about shadow work, babies. Shadow work time. It's time. So, this is a deep dive for Saturn here. This is a time for emotional and energetic boundaries. I can feel that in my body as I say it. A lot is going to be surfaced here. There is a need for you to learn how to say no with conviction, to own your desires and your limits. Yep. There's going to be a lot of power dynamics coming to the surface here. Shared resources, intimacy wounds, they're all coming up for healing. With Saturn transiting through the 8th house, it's going through the underworld and it's really bringing the things to the surface. And it's like, the way I was seeing this for myself as I was in a meditation was like, it's like Saturn coming down to visit Pluto, Hades, 8th house, and is like, it's almost like he's walking around with a clipboard and he's like, yeah, that shame over there, let's bring that shame up. Does that serve us anymore? No, let's look at that. And let's move through that because that's not helping us. And it's like literally going through all of your shadows, all the crevices, all the parts of you that you thought you could hide from are all coming up to be looked at. And truthfully, it's beautiful because there's a need for us to move through this. It's very interesting because with the energy of sex, because the 8th house is about that, and money, it's shared resources, it's shared energy. That's coming here. So sexual healing can come up here, but also facing sexual wounds, right? And financial restructuring can come up as well. So learning how to move with the energetics that are present here. The end result is going to be amazing. I don't know about the process. It's going to feel some sort of way, but it is what it is. And we're going to have a beautiful structure by 2028. And if you have a natal Saturn in Aries like I do, it's going to be extra fun. All right, Libra Risings. This is happening in your 7th house. So relationships, yippee, as if you guys have not gone through enough. I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for you guys because of the fact that Saturn is basically taking all these lessons, and you guys have been primed for this with the nodes having moved through this house. You've been primed for it. You are going to essentially have lessons in relationships that really solidify your boundaries in relationships. Who's truly aligned with your growth? Are the people that you're in partnership with, whether you're in a romantic partnership or the people that are closest to you, are they aligned with you? Are they going to grow with you? Are they going to do the death do us part and commit? This can bring up breakups or commitments, business partnerships, energetic shifts, right? It's all about relating here. This is also an opportunity to learn from your partnerships. They are the sacred mirror. They are you in a sense. And can you be with you? That's the question. Who are you with you? Saturn and Aries moving through your 7th house. It's not about relationships, truthfully. It's about relational responsibility. There's transits here. It's like you're choosing to be in a partnership. You're choosing to co-create with people around you. It's time for you to take radical responsibility of who you are in that. For some of you, I'm being really called to share, like, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And you have to let them go because you are holding back your healing and their healing. And Saturn's about time here. Like, just do it. Like, just get it. I was going to say, just get it over with. And kind of, I don't know what else to tell you guys, Libras. Y'all are just going through it. Okay, Scorpio Risings. This is happening in your 6th house. It's time to have a devotion to the details. Devotion to the details. What does that mean? Essentially, it's time for you to restructure your routines, your daily lives, your habits, your health. Saturn is here to really have you scrub clean your mind, body, spirit connection. That's the 6th house. You're learning the magic of routine as ritual, magic in the mundane. Saturn here asks, is your work actually sustainable? Are you overgiving, right? This also might have health issues arising for you to actually look at the messages your body is sending you. Listen and respond with care. Sagittarius risings, this is happening in your 5th house. So this has to do with like creative discipline and inner child healing. Saturn here turns the spotlight to how you express yourself. Is it consistent? Is it true? Are you actually performing how the way you truly wish to perform and be seen? This is a time that's pretty powerful if you're an artist and or in the dating realm for love, right? It brings trials of the heart. The 5th house is ruled by Leo. It's the heart. Romance could get serious here. Actually taking dating seriously, taking, the courting phase seriously, and like having a beautiful structure around that. Also, if you have kids, some of you may have kids, it's like creating a structure that is sustainable for them. I'm also seeing, especially for summer, if you've got kids home for summer, like create a routine for them, create a structure for them. Creative projects also need structure too. If you're an artist, if you're creative, like the music album is not going to write itself. You have to have like time that you dedicate and sit down to what it is that you like. Your creativity wants a container. It can't just be free flowing all the time. You have to have a container for it to be. It's maturation and joy, right? Letting your pleasure have roots. So it's like creating spaces where you can actually find joy, whether that's signing up for a pottery class and going every Tuesday, or finding things and times and pockets of time within your day to actually cultivate joy or to work on projects in your creativity. That's what Saturn's bringing here. Right, Capricorn risings. Saturn's moving through your 4th house of home and family. This is a lot. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot, and it's a beautiful gift for us. So the 4th house represents our family, our home, where we feel safe, and it also brings up our upbringing. This is a deep excavation of your inner world, family dynamics, and emotional roots. Saturn here brings in healing through our ancestral responsibility. We are our ancestors' DNA expressing itself. And you've been chosen to be here, depending on whatever your beliefs are. But I believe that you were chosen to be exactly who you are and move through what you are, to move through what you are moving through. And it's time for you to take radical responsibility of your choices to continue the patterns that they had. And Saturn here is going to break you free of that, whether you like it or not. This is your opportunity to restructure your relationship to home, your relationship to safety, your relationship to belonging. It's nobody else's responsibility to define those for you. It's your choice, and it's your opportunity to rebuild those things. There is a potential for home to change. You actually might move. You might renovate. You might change how that looks. But also that can be an internal thing. You could be reparenting your inner child. It's interesting that I talked about renovating because as somebody who is actively working and practicing shamanism, in your heart space, there's a space within your heart that you can go to. And it's almost like there's a need for you to restructure your inner safety in there. If you don't feel safe in your body, it's up to you to change that. It's nobody else's responsibility. And Saturn here is going to bring in opportunities to have you actively choose to be safe in your body. You've got this, okay? All right, Aquarius Risings. This is happening in your 3rd house. So communication, mental space, siblings. Your voice is being honed. Saturn is coming in hot and is ready for you to use your voice. And he's asking, are you speaking authentically? Are you speaking truth? Are you speaking clarity? This is a transit for mental boundaries, for focused learning, for intentional dialogue. Like, it's like your mental space. I'm seeing like upgrades happening in your mind and like the way you communicate. Your words have extra potency here. Your words shape your reality. Your thoughts create your reality. You're going to see this here with Saturn. You think it, it becomes. So you're going to really want to work on that. Your relationship with your siblings might have a restructuring happen as well, right? The third house can represent our close connections, like our siblings who we were raised with. And that could be changing and evolving. There could be new structures, a new way of connecting with them. Technology and like the way you relate to technology and use technology is changing as well. There may be contracts around areas of responsibility as well coming up here with Saturn moving through your third house. Yeah, I'm just hearing like if you don't know this, my like catchphrase for my business is using words as magic. You're going to figure that out real quick with Saturn moving through Aries, all right? Last but not least, my Pisces risings. Saturn is moving through your second house. This is self-worth and resource maturity. Saturn is teaching you to own your value. Yep. There may be financial challenges or restructuring that arises here. It's not punishment, it's refinement. Saturn is here to really teach you, do you understand the value of $1? I'm hearing the Weekend song, girl, I make enough of it to spend. But it's like truly understanding the energetic value of giving and receiving. Is what you're bringing into the world being matched with what you're bringing in? Are the people around you respecting the energy that you bring into their life? It's not necessarily about a dollar value, but the dollar does represent the energetic exchange. So getting close to that. There is a new foundation of stability rooted in self-trust that's being developed here. Like learning to trust your discernment, learning to trust your body to hint to you whether this is a yes, whether this is a no. The way you relate to your physical reality is changing. It's time to walk the walk. You know, do your actions align with what you claim to value? And if it doesn't, it's all going to fall apart. You can't hold the illusion up. I hate to break it to you. Like whatever structured reality you've created for yourself, if it's not in alignment, it's going to fall apart. And so it's time to really look at, what are my values? Am I being valued? I feel this for you guys. This is like one of those, like, especially because you just had Saturn move through your first house. And so your identity is very secure. And now it's moving into like your values, your body, the way you relate to the tangible world. Is it going to hold this new identity? We'll find out. All right. If you made it this far in the video, I know it's a long one, and I appreciate every single one of you that hangs out and watches things through. I love you guys so much. I'm deeply excited for this transit, even though it's heavy, even though it's going to feel a type of way, but it is a gift. I love Saturn, and Saturn loves you. All right. Bye, guys. See ya.